Hello, I'm Julia Brinston. I'm a speech and language therapist in a community learning disabilities team in Birmingham.
I'm Jo.
So my name's Claire and I'm a speech therapist by background.
So I'm a music therapist and my name is Ruth.
I'm Zoe. I'm a dietitian.
I'm Cordy. I'm an
Hello, I'm Carol Rutherford from Autism and Mind in Sunderland, and I'm the director of the work that AHPs do with people with learning disabilities
In Birmingham.
In a community learning disability team.
Yeah, did a few stories, yeah. The young man was very conscious about how he walked. And whenever you see anybody walking towards you, it's the first thing that you might see, but he walked with a limp. After talking with the orthotist, plus using some of my own lab skills, we were able to level him up. He had one leg shorter than the other. We were able to level him up so that his feet, his ankles, his knees and hips was all working at the same level. So he no longer walks now with a limp. In fact, his friends are saying, "Are you okay?" "What do you mean? You're not walking with a limp anymore." So he was very pleased about that.
When I worked with her, she would sit in the living room on her chair and her body would be quite slumped over and she would make this sound, kind of like wah sort of sound. So when I sang the sound back to her, wah, it became bigger, it amplified, and she would sit up and her body would be upright and then she would look at me and then we would make these sounds together. And it felt like we were alive in that moment. We were really there communicating with each other. And then her support worker joined in with us. And suddenly it was like there were 3 people in a room just normally communicating. It's just there were no words. And you could see her body change. You could see it moving from this to this. And it felt like we were there. It felt human. We were being human beings together in a room rather than thinking about a disability or a problem.
I want to talk about a particular moment that I had recently with the opportunity I had to take one of my patients across a couple of counties to go and see an art exhibition that he had exhibited his work in. And it was the most beautiful experience because it was quite a long way to take him, and we were sort of managing the risks of going so far and his anxieties about travelling in a car that far, us getting to his art exhibition, him finding his work on the wall, running up to it and just saying,
"This is mine. I did this. This is my work." Everyone around him, who were members of the general public, was saying, "Oh, you did that. Did you do this? Is this your work?"
And asking him questions about it, and he was kind of holding court in front of his artwork, and it was the most beautiful moment. He was so proud.
I was working with a family of an adult with a learning disability, and the family had spent a long time trying to enable their son to walk or talk like other people in mainstream, and they hadn't acknowledged his uniqueness. He was often helped to sort of sit on his hands to stop him from moving his hands and showing his excitement and joy, but by saying this is unique to him, this is his way of expressing himself, let's stick with that and go with that. Very delicately helping the family look at it from his perspective and why he was moving his hands in a way and what expression he was giving by doing that, and that to try and tamper that or to kind of stop him from doing that was stopping him from expressing himself.
I was working with a gentleman of about, 50 years old who lived in a flat on his own and really wasn't coping. Washing was all over his kitchen and there were flies everywhere, and he really wasn't managing very well. And we did lots of work with him, but the magic moment I had is when we talked about his washing, and he had a laundry basket full of washing, and we just did something really simple, which was put a piece of cord around the middle of the washing basket and told him that if if he did his washing at the point that the washing hit the cord, then he'd be able to keep on top of it. And the next time I visited him, he didn't have a massive pile of washing all over his kitchen, and he was in clean clothes, and actually it changed. It was the turning point for everything else changing. It increased his independence, it gave him confidence, it made him feel in control, and it was just something so simple, but it made such a difference to his life.
I had a client with a learning disability, an older gentleman who was an inpatient unit. His diagnosis was learning disability, but he was registered as being deaf. We ran a relaxation group and we had some shakers. And I went to give him the shaker, and the carer said, I wouldn't bother giving him one. He's deaf, he can't hear what you're saying. But I felt he could hear the sensation, so I gave him the shaker. He took it to his ear and shook it, and he said, I can hear that a little bit, and carried on shaking it.
Just because he had a diagnosis of being deaf, he actually had some hearing. It was good for others to see that actually. We can manage to include him in things. He decided to say, no, this is not right. He said, I want to learn with my hands, with Magaton. But not just Magaton I just want to use. I also want to use my shaker. So it makes me want to hear my sensation. He took it to his ear and shook it. And he said, I can hear that a little bit. So he got the sensation. He carried on and on and on to shake the shaker. He never felt so moved in his life. I just want to be free.
Alive in the moment. Alive in the moment.
Sensation.
Moving in the way that you feel is right.
Express himself in the way he knew how.
I think it might help them know that there's always going to be help.
I'm here with you.
Your nose clear, Bethany?
I can hear you, yes.
Good. Yeah, you can. Okay, good. Right, you're the expert on quirks.
No one stops you.
Do you want me to do like a little turnaround?
Let me out.
All right then, I'll let you out.
Okay, now, yeah.